Welcome to MI Radio's Myanmar Today. I am Aga Jo, and here are today's reports. Flower farmers to reduce cultivation due to low demand from consumers. All townships except Cocogyun Township of Yangon Region now under stay-at-home plan. Townshipwide voluntary organizations strive for food supplies. And basic foodstuffs market runs sluggish in resurgence of COVID-19. Before we get to the reports, let's take a look at the featured local news for today. Union Minister for Planning, Finance and Industry Uso Win participated in a teleconference meeting yesterday morning with Mr. Ni Win Sinsiri, the country director for Myanmar from the Asian Development Bank, and the officials from the International Monetary Fund and Japan International Cooperation Agency about financial and technical assistance for Myanmar's COVID-19 economic relief plan. They discussed COVID-19 related situations in Myanmar, implementation of the CERP, the Myanmar Recovery and Reform Plan, efforts to minimize COVID-19 impacts on businesses by using state budgets and international financial assistance, cooperations between ADB, IMF, JICA and future plans. ADB, IMF and JICA officials explained their assistance for implementation of CERP and future plans based on CERP monitoring framework and indicators. The value of Myanmar's bilateral trade with the neighboring country Thailand in regular trading and border trade was estimated at $18.865 billion in the past 4 financial years, the statistics issued by the Central Statistical Organization and the Ministry of Planning, Finance and Industries indicated. The ministry reported that exports surpassed imports in trade with Thailand in the past 4 years, with exports reaching over $10.73 billion and imports valued at over $8.13 billion. A total of 27 Myanmar seamen who signed off from 3 ships anchored in the Andaman Sea for crew change arrived in Koh Tao yesterday evening. Among them, 9 are from the ship MT Global Flora that came from China. 3 are from MV Miss Clon from Ukraine, and 15 are from MT Camro Queen from Malaysia. Captain U Wiminta, 8 seamen for MT Global Flora vessel, Captain U Jo Kanzin, and 3 seamen for MV Miss Clon, and Captain U Min So and 11 seamen for MT Camro Queen has swept the duties with the returned seamen. And I believe it's time now for our first report. Local flower farmers are experiencing the lack of demand from consumers. This leads to the cancellation of the orders from industry outlets and difficulty with the transportation. The flower farmers are worried to plant the flowers as normal. Tildi Ritu and Amu have more.
Mandalay Flower Market, located on the way from Mandalay to Bien Unlui, is a photogenic spot, meeting the sellers from the mountains and the buyers from bustling city. Practically, the flowers are often used as offering to Buddha images, and they are used as more purposes for religious matters rather than using personal gifts in Myanmar. Different flower colors symbolize different significance in praying, and the residents prefer the white, yellow as they are dedicated to Buddhism. The Mandalay Flower Market, far from 20 kilometers out of the city, opens every day, but only in the morning from 5 a.m. till 12 p.m. The pandemic hit supply chains, including major retailers and the event industry. Local flower farmers discussed the devastation the flower farming industry is experiencing due to lack of demand from consumers, thereby leading to the cancellation of the orders from industry outlets and difficult access to transportation. Dr. Tuma is a flower farmer. She spoke to MI Radio about the loss of income and the loss of the financial investment faced by the flower farmers.
In the wake of COVID-19, we, the flower farmers, also have our difficulties. We don't own the land for flower growing. Most of the farmers usually rent the land to grow with 1-year contract, and the rent costs are around 300,000 jas for the land where we can grow about 50,000 plants. The weather condition is not so good for this year. Normally, we sell a bouquet of flowers with 2,000 jas. jets, then the price drops to 800 jets. It means that the farmers only got back about 1.5 million jets in investing about 4 million jets. The flower farmers are afraid of planting the flowers in normal scale now, as the farmers are facing many losses they cannot raise for capital, as we can't manage or predict about the weather and also COVID-19. The only thing we can afford is to plant the affordable amount of flowers for our livings.
Most of the sellers collect the flowers from Pien U Luin and they will ride about 1.5 to 2 hours to arrive at the market. For flower shops inside the cities, they come here to find various flowers to resell in the city bazaars. Speaking to Myanmar Radio about the transportation of the flower to the market and the sales of the various kind of flower, a flower trader said,
The market condition of the flower this year is cold. The flowers coming from Dangji and Muse to Pien U Luin are really high in sale prices. So the sales are still cold in the market. Although the sales are not good as the normal condition, some kinds of flower like yellow ginger lily flower, white waxy flower, aster flower, eugenia flower, henna flower, star flower, and small fragrant flowers are still good in sales. The owners only get 300 chats profit for investing about 1,500 chats. So we can pretty much raise the capital for that. The flower shops are just selling the flowers which arrived in the market already. We didn't invest in the new plants.
Ujo, pure flower shop owner, spoke to Myanmar Radio about the unstable situation of flower market.
The market condition of flower is not stable. We are selling the flower according to the current sale prices. As the transportation to the whole country was prohibited, we have to sell the flowers with sales price as fast as we can. When the rest flowers are sold out, we have to stop selling the flower for a while. This is not a flower season, and there is no way to import from China and other regions to the market, as the transportation is just limited.
Since the government declared the pandemic as a national crisis and limited public gatherings, flower producers ceased almost their operations.
That's the news on flower farmers to reduce cultivation due to low demand. The Ministry of Health and Sports announced that in order to contain COVID-19 spread within Yangon Region, its townships, excluding Cocogyun Township, are imposed with a stay-at-home order, besides governmental offices which adapt to rotate working system. Some businesses and companies are instructed to work from home. The CMP workplaces are to be closed for 2 weeks. The residents from Yangon Region are to follow the stay-at-home order. Tora Azwezin has more.
On 20th of September, the Ministry of Health and Sports announced that all townships in Yangon Region except Cocogyun Township are under stay-at-home plan. Because of the increasing COVID-19 confirmed cases in Yangon, the ministry has extended the stay-at-home order which was previously imposed on 28 townships. All the residents in Yangon Region except Cocogyun Township are to follow the regulations exclusive of stay-at-home order which came into effect on the 21st of September. The civil servants are to rotate on a 2-week for office attendance and 2-week on work-from-home basis. Except private sectors, including banks and financial services, fuel refilling stations, food businesses and cold warehouses, pharmaceutical and medical equipment businesses, drinking water businesses, and factories producing daily hygiene products. The remaining organizations and companies are to apply work-from-home system. Only 1 person per household can go outside to buy groceries, and only 2 persons per household can go outside for hospital or clinic visits. Permitted vehicles and these transporting workers can only go through the townships. Within the ward, only the driver and 1 other person are permitted to go shopping, and only the driver and 2 other persons to go to the hospital or clinic. Dr. Tanaiso, Director of Health Knowledge Promotion Division from the Ministry of Health and Sports said.
ဆေးဝါးတွေပေါ့နော်ဒီလိုဆိုင်နေဖွင့်ထားတယ်စူပါမားကတ်မှာလည်းဒီလိုမျိုးပေါ့နော်
Both in the markets and supermarkets, only food shops and pharmacies are allowed to open. Only permitted persons can go out, and limited number of people per household can still go outside for a necessary reason. This is different from lockdown, which does not allow going out from home at all. The basic principle is that if a person is infected and he is isolated, he will be the only one to suffer from the disease. According to the latest research, the duration of the virus infection from the infected person to other people lasts for 11 to 14 days. This is why we apply quarantine system and social distancing. The lesser number of contacts among the people, the lower the risk of the infection.
28 townships were already under stay-at-home plans in the early week of September, and the newly restricted townships are also undergoing preparedness. Uday Myin is regional representative from Tamil constituency 2, and he talked about how they are doing preventative measures in Tamil Township, which has already been under a stay-at-home plan since 9th of September.
COVID ကိုစဉ်းစားတော့ထွေးဥကပေါ့နော်
In a township, under the guidance of township administrator, the ward administrators are conducting the COVID-19 prevention works in respective wards. Now, a new quarantine center has been kept opening and already received about 70 people. In each ward, the streets are not closed, but the buildings and houses where the positive patients are found are in lockdown. During this resurgence period, majority of people are aware and following the health regulations despite some still being careless. For us, when conducting COVID-19 preventive measures, we welcome stay-at-home plan. Now, all the townships in Yangon except Cocogyun are now under stay-at-home plan. This can help a lot in preventing and curbing the spread of the virus.
Moreover, it is stated in the announcement that CMB factories and workplaces are not allowed to have staff coming into the workplace for 2 weeks from 24th of September to 7th of October. Donin Damon is factory owner of Sri Sisa Garment Factory, and she said,
For 2 weeks suspension, we will request the buyers because we need to follow the regulations released by the government. At present, we have orders in hand until the end of October. This is not such challenge for our factory to suspend operation for 2 weeks. When we're operating, we make sure the workers wash hands, wear face mask, and face shield. We make sure we provide hand sanitizer every hour while they're walking, as well as disinfecting the workplaces twice in a day.
For those who are permitted to go out for work, grocery buying, purpose, or clinic visits, it is a must to wear face masks. If any of the residents from the restricted townships fail to follow the stay-at-home order, it is announced to take action in accordance with the existing law. In Myanmar, the total confirmed cases have already passed over 6,000 nationwide, with the most confirmed cases found within Yangon Region.
That's the news on all townships except Cocogyun Township of Yangon Region are now under stay-at-home plan. The COVID-19 pandemic has had an immediate impact on the individual well-being or household's daily necessities as some places start to exercise travel restrictions. Some volunteer organizations which help people in those areas become crucial in this long combat between COVID-19 and the people. David Tanner has details.
The COVID-19 infected persons are being placed in lockdown as part of taking preventive measures. The number of infected cases is increasing day by day in the resurgence of the virus. Therefore, respective township voluntary organizations in Yangon Region are striving for food supplies for those who are living in the places where are in lockdown. In some places, if a person is found infected with the virus, all the rooms of the whole tall building have to be in lockdown due to the situation of the densely populated city. The case like this is increasing, and so the movement of the people has to be controlled. Moreover, although the people having close with infected person are non-positive patients, their movements have to be controlled. More quarantine centers have been already set up in each township in case there would be difficulty in accommodating those who are going to quarantine centers as the confirmed cases are rising daily. Unyini Region Lotto representative from Cocogyun South Township constituency said.
2ရက်3ရက်လောက်အတွင်းမှာကိုပဲဘာလို့ positive ဖြစ်တဲ့အတိုက်တွေဆိုရင်5တဲ့တိုက်6တဲ့တိုက်အဲ့လိုတိုက်တွေမှာဆိုရင်
Within these 2 or 3 days, the positive cases were found in 5 and 6-story buildings, and the people from some apartments of these buildings are not allowed going out. We are constantly arranging foods for them and fire brigades members, Red Cross members, and ward dwellings that are taking care of those positive families of the positive patients. Only the roads or the streets where the positive patients are found are in lockdown. For example, we spray the houses where the positive patients are found and the places around them in the Cocogyun South Township. The fire brigade members, Red Cross members, and ward elders are helping us guard these places. We share what we and our friends donate with our lockdown victims. Now, a lot of things are going fine.
During the stay-at-home period, there are those who dare not go out, including the aged people, and they are having difficulty in buying things. For that reason, the voluntary organizations from the respective townships are helping them buy and donate necessary goods. Usain Tui, chairman of We Left Sanjiang Voluntary Organization, said.
Our team is the sub-team of a voluntary team called We Left Yangon. Initially, we're just a team which is delivering the stipend and assisting goods to the people who are in need. Later, they have encountered some problems in donating the whole Yangon city. The people in Sanjiang are no more receiving the helps from We Left Yangon team. So, our group We Left Sanjiang is trying to donate the necessary goods and commodities to the families who are placed on lockdown as much as we can. That's what we're doing right now. Some people who have not yet received our assistance ask for our helps. Some ask for help to buy what they want when they need something to eat. Sometimes they are a little short on money, so we try to help them with our money. Mostly, the houses in lockdown are cordoned off and some chairs are placed in front of their houses. So, they have to be informed by phone that we left our donations on these chairs so that they can bring them of their own. There are no volunteers to accept the donations in some quarters. So we had to leave our donations on their stairs and doorways with regret.
Furthermore, it was learned that Yangon Region Chief Minister Pyo-min is leading to assist necessary facilities in Myanmar housing in the Cocogyun South to accommodate potentially infected patients. Moreover, the volunteers and the fire brigade members from 4 townships of the Cocogyun are cooperating in carrying out preventive measures, including spraying disinfectants, cleaning surroundings, and cutting grass around Myanmar housing.
That's the news on Townshipwide, a voluntary organization striving for food supplies. With the resurgence of COVID-19, the market of basic foodstuffs is seeing sales drop. September is usually a time of celebrations, including almsgiving ceremony and festivities. But this year, because of the ban on festivities as a preventative measure against COVID-19, the sellers are losing orders and customers. Dora Suizin, Sueman, Somi, I'll have more.
There is not much change in the price of the essential basic foodstuffs for the public, but the business is significantly getting cold. In the last week of March, when the first cases of COVID-19 in Myanmar were confirmed, the sales were running too fast in the basic foodstuff market, and some retailer shops had to face with a shortage of the supplies. In the resurgence of COVID-19, the business is getting really colder unlike before. U Kin Han, chairman of Myanmar Onion, Garlic and Culinary Crops Production and Export Association said.
In short, the markets are really cold and the business is not going well. In the past, we used to sell a lot in our brokerage centers every day. Now the trade is really not good. In fact, the impact of this COVID wave is quite severe, not only just for the owners, but also for the workers. The government is providing support which can help the workers a bit for their living. Normally, these months are really busy because of the upcoming donations. The ceremonies in October and the donations for the injured are held, and so the markets were very active last year. But for this year, we cannot say, and the things are unpredictable. It seems that the prices had gone up recently, but now they are not rising. That's why everything is difficult. Another thing is that the hotels, the restaurants, and the schools are not allowed to open. Even if schools are reopened, there will be no canteens anymore. We do not see any sudden improvement in this month too.
September is usually a time of celebrations, including Almsgiving ceremony and festivities. This is the time when the market is normally alive with those placing pre-orders and the prices are slightly high. But this year, the sales are significantly cooled due to the impact of COVID-19. In addition, the sellers are being aware of themselves not to be infected with the COVID-19. Unaiso is a seller from Bumiyang Market from the Cocogyun North Township, and he said,
Currently, we are selling our goods despite worries about the virus risks. The sale is not so bad at all because we all need to buy and sell every day, regardless of the risks of the disease, and we have buyers here. We wear masks and gloves to protect ourselves from the virus while selling our goods, and we always stay apart with our customers. The sale rate has dropped compared to the past as only the few customers came. Rice, oil, eggs, fish paste, and the dried fishes are the main commodities that our customers had bought. Actually, we are all afraid of the COVID-19, but we continue to sell because we cannot live without selling. So we are selling with care amid the pandemic.
The consumers buy the foodstuff only when they are in need. Some bought what they want in advance in the outbreak of COVID-19, and they are now buying only minimal quantity of the basic foodstuffs. Dozan shopper from the Cocogyun North Township said.
I came here because I must surely buy the commodities for my family, but I am worried, so I need to wear masks and gloves, and then I follow the social distancing rule issued by the Ministry of Health and Sports. I wait for my turn if there are many buyers in front of the shops. That's how we make buying. I always come to the market by protecting myself, although I am concerned about the virus. The only thing we faced as a difficulty is queuing to buy goods, as there are lots of customers and we need to stay apart. The prices are the same before and after. I don't come here every day, but I always buy enough commodities for about 2 days. I can buy more than the amount for 2 days as I need to consider my incomes and expenses.
According to the current Central Statistics Office, consumer prices and inflation stood at 161.14 CPI in July of 2020, an increase of 1.7% compared to the same period of last year and up 0.1% from 160.98 in June of 2020. For the nationwide inflation rate, which was calculated based on the consumer prices in the 2012 basic year, is averagely 7.14% annually until July of 2020, and the year-on-year inflation rate was 1.7%, according to the Central Statistics Office.
That's the news on basic foodstuffs market running sluggish in COVID-19 resurgence. Now to international news. Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden urged Senate Republicans not to vote on any candidate nominated to the Supreme Court as the November election approaches, calling his rival Donald Trump's plan an exercise of raw political power. Biden was speaking on Sunday, the day that a second Senate Republican voiced objections to Trump's plan for a quick vote on a replacement to liberal Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who died on Friday. Such an appointment by the president, if approved by the Senate, would cement a 6-3 conservative majority that could influence American law and life for decades. Some of the world's biggest companies on Monday backed growing calls for governments to do more to reverse the accelerating destruction of the natural world and support broader efforts to fight climate change. More than 560 companies with combined revenues of $4 trillion, including Walmart, Citigroup, and Microsoft, signed up to a statement calling for action over the next decade. The call comes as the United Nations prepares to host a biodiversity summit later this month, aiming to build momentum towards forging a new global pact to ward off threats to nature, exemplified by recent fires in the Amazon and California. As coronavirus cases surge in the UK, the government is introducing tighter regulations to stop people from mixing with others if they show symptoms of the virus. Lulu Abdevka reports from London.
From Monday, the 28th of September, people by law will be required to self-isolate if they test positive for coronavirus. If they refuse, they'll face tougher penalties than before. Offenders, for instance, could be fined between $1,300 and $13,000. There's likely to be more local lockdowns too. Already more than 13 million people are living with tighter restrictions, but now London's population could be added. And even with a second national lockdown, that isn't being ruled out by the government. Matt Hancock, the UK Health Minister, in a series of media interviews, warns that tougher controls are needed because he and others in the government are worried that people have been too relaxed about the virus and they're breaching self-isolation restrictions. He said the UK is at a tipping point, which is why he's recommending and wants people to inform and tell the authorities if they see others breaking the rules, even to snitch on their neighbours. And when asked, yes, he would complain about neighbours breaking any emergency COVID-19 laws. Everybody should, he said. So Keir Starmer, leader of the opposition Labour Party, says that the government has lost control of the testing system in Britain. Now, with almost 4,500 new cases on Saturday, this weekend has seen the highest infection rates since the beginning of May. On Monday, the UK government's chief medical officer and the main scientific advisor will give their latest advice on how to battle the pandemic. Yolo Abdavid, CGTN, London.
That's all with the news and reports on Myanmar Today. Hope everyone is staying safe.